So we have today Manfred Berger. He's the Senior Business Development Manager at Western Digital Company, and his session's titled Silicon to System Innovation, Moving Up the Stack with Western Digital. So please welcome for us Manfred. Please welcome Manfred. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry for the wait. The previous speaker finished a bit early, and we wanted to give the crowds a chance to rush in, which hasn't happened. Nice try, anyway. Okay, I'm going to talk about Western Digital, the company best known for its chips used in handheld calculators in 1970. That wasn't even in the storage business until 1988, other than providing storage controller chips. What I want to talk about is what this company has become over the years. Most people, when they hear Western Digital, they're actually thinking WD, the red, green, blue, purple drives. But that's really only part of the business. Over the years, Western Digital has acquired other companies, new technologies, and has actually become a full portfolio provider, generating short of $20 billion a year and generating $5 billion in cash, which is the money we spend on these investments over the years. So the brands that you see today are SanDisk on the consumer side, G Technology on the professional creations, creative professional side, up there as a cloud storage service. And under Western Digital, you'll find the UltraStar brand, which is basically everything enterprise, which is my focus. We have the widest portfolio, as I said, everything from embedded flash to object storage systems. And we are virtually integrated because literally all technologies we're using are built somewhere within the corporation. This is part of our technology history. So in 1976, WD actually had the first patent on disk arrays. 1988, SanDisk developed the NAND flash that is still in use today. Funny enough, at the time they were called SanDisk and were actually partially owned by Seagate, who thought this flash thing isn't going anywhere, let's get rid of it. So glad they did, because we could have it. On the hard drive technology side, you must understand that actually the IBM heritage is part of the Western Digital side as well. So all these patents about GMR, PMR, the helium seal drives, they're actually with us today. And on the flash side, we've come from the invention in 1988, went over MLC to what's now called 3D, 96 layers we can do, which enables very attractive prices. Still not close enough to replace hard drive, as some people are saying, but anyway, continuing to enable growth in that field. And last thing I want to mention is that in 2018, we introduced something called Composable Infrastructure, which is going to be another revolution in that we actually virtualize storage resources and make them available over the network rather than stuffing them in a server. All in all, we hold 13,800 patents across the whole portfolio, which enables us to be not only vertically integrated, but we also call ourselves vertically innovating, which means we can take care of certain aspects of storage somewhere in the stack. This is the business unit I'm representing here in Europe, the so-called Data Center Systems unit. We got into business in 2015, and in the years from our fiscal 16 to fiscal 19, we have been growing by a factor of 17. We have over 3,000 customers in the systems and platforms arena. We have shipped over 8,500 systems, or 3 exabytes. In other words, we're adding 150 customers every quarter, and we have over 400 engineers driving that outside all the other developments going on the flash and hard drive side. There's no industry out there that is not touched by data storage, that doesn't benefit from data storage and making use of it. And we see ourselves in the center of all this, enabling all kinds of storage systems to help these industries do their thing better. There's 3 main aspects driving the data revolution. One, the sheer volume of data that needs handling, but also the speed at which it needs handling and the security that comes with that. So we have encryption on the drives, we have all kinds of functionalities, that enable that for the users of our technology. We're transforming industries, so what used to be image viewing has become immersing oneself in imagery and so on. What has become pure video recording for surveillance purposes has become real-time analysis. And there are many more examples on that scale, going from big data to fast data, which I don't want to cover in all detail. Infrastructure is critical to the data-centric world, and that's the mission we take on. So we're enabling timely insights, be it through analysis of markets, be it through providing data for machine learning to enable real-time decisions in actual situations, be it driving or others. Workload acceleration, which is the general topic for the storage industry. Every has to be done faster, more off, for lower cost. So that's a mission we're trying to accomplish every day. And finally, data-centric management. Rather than keeping data in different silos, we want to enable data to be widely available to drive innovation in every layer of the company by having access to it as and where it's needed and taking analysis and advantage of it wherever possible. So the general challenge is to be faster, cheaper, more efficient, and secure. This is the actual platform and systems portfolio we're having. On the left side, we have the bare metal things like JBots, JBoss servers, which we are qualifying with third-party software vendors to actually create a solution. But our contribution is basically the bare metal and the joint qualification. Whereas on the composable infrastructure side, we actually make software available. We make an API available to utilize that in the field. And on the cloud or active scale system, we even provide a whole turnkey solution. So it's basically cloud in a box. We can set this up in record time, within 2 hours from pallet to usage we have demonstrated in the past. This thing speaks S3 or has a file interface, and is one of the examples where we basically handle the full stack. And on the far right, you see the IntelliFlash platforms, which are basically primary storage, high-speed primary storage, either fully based on flash or utilizing a hybrid implementation of HDDs and SSDs. The data center systems unit has 4 focus elements. One, we are a full-stack innovation company. We can tackle challenges on every part of the layer because we do everything from silicon up to the system. We manage the OS side, and we manage the whole engineering from silicon to systems. The vertical integration, which is the actual manufacturing part, gives us control over the whole supply chain, what is needed, where and when, the integrated testing and whatever comes with that. And finally, we are flexible in the go-to-market strategy because we can work with different players in the market on various layers there. And we even have flexible consumption modules. For instance, if you don't want to own a whole machine, you can actually lease that by capacity. And finally, the portfolio consists of, as I said, bare metal to systems, so you have 3 choices there. You have choices whether you want to go full flash or hybrid, and all that is owned by the data center systems business unit. We have memory technology, as I said, which enables device platforms from which we build actual devices, and finally systems. And in the actual implementation that looks that we do about 25,000 wafers a day, which turn into 4 million NAND dies, which turn into 100,000 SSDs every day. There's 1,000 firmware images that we handle in a day to turn this into actual functional devices. And we do over 100 systems a day that we're shipping. Cost-wise, it then looks like this, because we have everything in-house. We don't have to add margin on the die layer, on the SoC layer, on the device layer, and so on. We add margin once, whereas people that buy NAND and turn them into something, buy things at a margin, add margins on margins, and end up being more expensive. Here are a few examples. In the IntelliFlash world, we have one customer which is actually running a real-time booking platform where it's key to have very short latency, very short decision-taking before people lose their patience and go elsewhere. We have a customer in the Formula One racing where every aspect of the car is recorded in real time. They take real-time decisions how controls in the system might be optimized for the car to have better grip, better turning, and so on. And finally, we're in the basketball league where we record games from every angle onto our systems to make the experience for the fans richer in that they can look at stuff backwards, forwards, high speed, real time, whenever and wherever they want. On the active scale side, which is the object store speaking S3, we have customers in the genomics data field where one actually has a 60 petabyte installation in 3 geographies, which comes with the advantage that even if a whole data center breaks, data availability is still 100% accessible from the 2 remaining sites at real-time speed. And that at a very small overhead. It's not triple replication, as some might think. It's actually erasure coding, which only comes with about 50% overhead. The other key customer is actually in the autonomous driving field. This is one of the car makers that so far accumulated 30 petabytes of raw data in terms of cameras, radar sensors, LiDAR, and so on to develop their algorithms for autonomous driving. And finally, we have a financial company that is accumulating every movement in every market and derives intelligence from that to do better trades themselves. On the platform side, key customer number 1 is actually a large e-commerce website which has hundreds of JBots in use in a bit of a funny configuration in that they actually asked for a mix of devices within because they run several applications across all of them, be it Hadoop, be it database, or be it backup, where every JBot is just one little element in the whole installation. The other one is a multi-cloud gaming company. Their claim to fame is they have 140 frames in their virtual machines, which is a Windows 10 implementation, which is actually fast enough to run computer games on it. They claim 140 frames per second, and every user gets about 500 gigabyte of flash, which is provided by us. Finally, we have third-party software vendor, which actually runs data centers to back up their clients' data, and that is also based on our JBots. So to sum things up, for the data center systems, we are a full-stack innovator. We can tackle problems on various layers in the stack. We have the broadest portfolio, and you don't have to take my word from it. There's actually third-party intelligence comparing us to others. We are vertically integrated as far as the manufacturing. We do everything from wafer to systems. We own the whole supply chain. We have global reach. We are a global company, present in literally all countries. And we have been a trusted partner for many years. We have been around, as I said, since the 70s. And we have financial strengths. There are some companies out there that have great products, but never actually made money, which is risky going forward, but that's not us. And last but not least, I want to talk about the latest partnership that we announced, that is with Accelero, which is a software-defined storage company. Their claim to fame is that running on our server, they can virtualize flash resources and make them available to other servers in the same network. The benefit of that is, rather than giving every server its own flash to only then figure one has too little to do the job and the other one has way too much and you have basically overspent, you give every server dynamically what they need and when they need it at very low latency. So for instance, the fastest NVMe we do has about 20 microseconds latency. Their software layer adds another 5, which in sum is 25, and is still 3 times faster than if you had a local SAS SSD. And I want to invite you here for a drink, which we're giving away from 1800 or 8 o'clock or 6 p.m. at booth number H27 in the main tent. So meet the expert, have a free drink, have a discussion, and come see us, please.